Very nice. Just keep guiding. Guiding. Nice job. Go right on around it. Good. For real.
Dee Dee Hill Morgan and her husband John treat their granddaughters to their first horseback riding lesson. But the 63-year-old grandmother worries how much longer they will have special times together like this.
Look at you. Now right hand, make him go to that rail. Make him go straight over there to that rail.
Dee Dee suffers from DePuy hip implant blood poisoning and hip replacement infection. She's literally a ticking chemical time bomb. High levels of toxic cobalt and chromium infected her bloodstream, triggering bouts of nausea, dizziness, blurred vision, and changing the taste of her favorite foods.
I started getting more toxic or a metal taste, some fatigue, and I had some of the symptoms. I just didn't realize that it was from the metal. So what did you learn today?
Until the DePuy hip replacement recall, Dee Dee expected to get a new lease on her active lifestyle. She received not one, but two of the DePuy now recalled hip replacements. The veteran probation officer had to take early retirement for the second surgery because she didn't have enough sick leave.
After the second surgery, the pain was probably more severe. It was more intense. You know, I started compensating to the other leg because, you know, I didn't have the strength that I was used to. I had some numbness, you know, sleeping at night. You know, I had trouble sleeping on my sides.
Dee Dee kept hoping she would feel better, to resume playing and teaching yoga to her granddaughters. Then she received the results of her hip implant blood tests. The high level of hip implant blood poisoning alarmed her surgeon. Dee Dee's cobalt level was 21 times the norm, and chromium level was 8 times, and headed higher.
To know that you've got that much metal in your system, and I think what scares me is not knowing what long-term effects it may cause. You know, it's like what's going to happen 6 months from now or a year from now.
Dee Dee had received a second DePuy ASR hip implant just 4 months after DePuy's voluntary hip replacement recall in Australia. Data there showed a high hip replacement failure rate among patients. Many suffered from elevated blood levels of cobalt and chromium, or hip implant metal poisoning. But DePuy did not tell Dee Dee or her surgeon about its hip replacement recall overseas.
Oh, I'm very angry about that. You know, that a lot of this could have been avoided.
In the wake of DePuy's hip replacement recall and hip replacement failure, the New York Times reported that many patients developed inexplicable pain, and surgeons, when replacing the implant, discovered mysterious masses of dead tissue near the thighs of some patients. Dee Dee says it's chilling to even think about it. DePuy metal particles made of poisonous cobalt and chromium flowing into her heart and brain.
You know, people have died, people have been permanently disabled, and so there have been many negative consequences, and it could happen to me.
So when a letter from DePuy showed up in her mailbox with no clear promise to pay for her growing medical bills, Dee Dee started searching for an experienced hip implant lawyer.
I wasn't comfortable with the letter because I was more concerned that why are we getting these letters to begin with when research shows that they should have, you know, it should have been recalled way before it did.
Dee Dee's life-threatening condition requires the drastic surgical measure of replacing both of her DePuy recalled hip replacements at the same time. The long recovery means she will lose her part-time job as a probation counselor.
I knew that my part-time job, I wasn't able to work. I'm not going to be able to work during that time, so the extra money that I had depending on is not going to be there. I was looking more at what happens if, you know, my insurance doesn't pay. Who's going to pay for that?
This was supposed to have been the start of Dee Dee's golden years, enjoying the love of her family, sharing in the growth of her granddaughters. Now, there is a nagging fear that her life may never be the same.
I think there's always the concern that if you're not around for something that could have been avoided, then it saddens me that I may not be a part of their life. And so 3 years from now, we may not be doing horseback riding together.